That just sounds so soothing. Hello, welcome to another monthly Diamond Perspective panel. Hey, somebody told me 2 weeks ago, they said, Barbara, you get too excited. You need to calm down a little bit. And I was like, what? Oh, I like being excited. I like being happy and smiling. And then just for a moment, I stopped and I said, okay, maybe I need to adjust. That lasted like an hour. Because after that, I was like, I gotta be me. So no, I'm excited. I'm excited about the Diamond panel. I'm excited about the queens that are coming on. I'm excited about life. I'm excited that we can breathe. I'm excited the pandemics. The list goes on, right? So yes, I'm going to be excited. We should be excited in life. We really should. We've been held for the 2.5 years. Not even gonna go there. But out of that has came a lot of other things that we have to really think about. I think the biggest thing that we can take from it is gratitude. The biggest thing we can take out is just being grateful for that we're still here. We still got time to spend with loved ones, even though some people and I know my own family passed because of it. But I think about the legacy. I think about the legacy that I want to continue on, the ones that they probably, they stopped or they couldn't anymore. So we're going to get excited. We're going to think about each other. We're going to love on each other. We're going to have these queens love on you and give you some information that's going to make you more powerful and moving forward in what you do in your journey in life, because that's what this panel is always about. We meet every Thursday, and I'm trying to keep that, make sure, first Thursday of the month. So I'm already telling people, write it down, put it in your phone, iPad, whatever. Then you can never say, well, Barbara didn't tell me when it comes on. Don't want to hear that. That's one excuse out the door. So with that, we want to get started. Here we go.
Hello,
all the queens in the house. We have Mrs. Renee. Yes.
Hello.
Then we have Mrs. Other BB. And I think I just lost somebody. And we have Miss Carol and Miss Kieran. Yeah. I see her. She's looking down, but we see her lovely face and where she's at. And hopefully she can hear us. Okay, she keeps going. Okay. That's called tech problems. I know that the last second time was tech problems, but that's okay. We're just gonna keep on moving, right, ladies? And then she'll come back. So with that said, thank you again. First, I always want to open by thanking you all the time for being a part of this Diamond Perspective panel. It wouldn't be a panel. It wouldn't even be important if it wasn't for all of you in it. I mean, I can do some things, but I can't do a lot of things that you do. So I want all of you. I love all of you. Always coming every month. And Renee, are you fairly new?
I'm brand new. Yes, my first time.
Yes, we got a brand new queen in the house, Miss Renee. So I want to say, okay, this is what happens when you're new.
Okay.
You are the first one to get to do a 30-second of introducing yourself and what do you do? And then at the end, we're going to make sure that people get your contact information, because the one thing about it, we're all business women, and I always want to make sure you're getting that visibility. So I'm going to start with you, Queen, Miss Renee.
Okay, 30 seconds. Okay, well, I've been a realtor for 34 years. I sell residential and commercial. I've written 6 books to help the people out there that are trying to buy, sell, and so on. There's 6 different ones. I sell living trusts. I tell my clients if they buy and sell with me, I'll give them a living trust for free. And I've just started something new, which is helping families transition into, people in the family that need long-term care, whether that's assisted living, memory care, nursing home, home health. And I do it from a legal and financial perspective and helping with Medicaid and VA aid and attendance. So that's it. That's what I do.
And that is awesome. And in 30 seconds or less, you did it really well.
I didn't know if I could get it all in. I tried.
You really did. And you're doing some wonderful things. I love what you're doing, the realtor and everything that you do in life. So we're gonna hear more from Renee as we get talking about this subject for tonight. Because I know we all have some wonderful things to say about communication is the key. Is it
Yeah.
and why? So now we heard from Renee. Let's hear from Miss Carol. I'm gonna pick on her for a second. And I'll take her off of mute.
Oh, am I muted? No. Okay. Well, I'm Carol Henderson, and I have Life by Design, and I help people to make the second half of their life just as good or better than the first half of their life. And I work with them on their nutrition, on their mindset, just various areas of their life. And you know, when you're happy, life is more delicious.
True.
So true. So that's what I was just saying earlier, right, Carol? That we got to be happy. Everything and people, it kind of just adds like you happy, then everybody else kind of says, okay, can't be sad because everybody's happy. So let me just get with the program.
Right.
I would like to join that program instead of the other program was like, normal stuff. Thank you for making such a difference in the world. And now I want to go to Mrs. Karen. She's on with us now, so that's good. Okay, just take yourself off of mute. There you go. Okay, can you hear us? Uh-oh, she's fading. There she is. Nope, she's back on mute. Okay, let's play with
Okay,
technology.
okay.
There you go. There you
Connections tonight. I was looking down earlier because my everything had frozen. But anyway, I am Karen Stultz. I am a normal people pleaser and self-doubter extraordinaire, term mindset mentor for online coaches so that they can release that self-doubt, guilt, shame, and make some money. Be all that they can be, show up, and have a figure plus income with ease and grace.
Awesome. I took a second because I know her internet's a little bit, and I want to make sure she got everything out because I didn't want to interrupt. So thank you, Karen Queen, for coming in and being a part of this wonderful panel. And we're going to talk more about communication. I can't wait to talk about this subject because I know it's going to be awesome. And our wonderful, like, queen, the queens, my other half, I always say, Mrs. Barbara Ellis.
Well, hey there, my fabulous co-host. I mean, we're the babies. I mean, you don't get any better than the babies. Oh, except the day we had all three of us were Barbaras. We had Barbara, and our guest's name was Barbara.
We had the trifecta of Barbara.
Trifecta of Barbaras. Anyways, yeah, I'm Barbara Ellison. And aging successfully isn't about trying to look younger. It's about living your best life and having the physical and mental health to enjoy it. So I'm the founder of the Wellness Playroom, and so that you can come and learn how to look and feel spectacular for years to come. Because in my mind, the bottom line is that, like a bottle of fine wine, we can get better with age. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it, and I'm going to help you do it.
Oh, we threw some Les Brown at the end in there. Okay.
You got it.
Story, and I'm sticking to it. Love it. I like that. We grow. I always tell people, yeah, we get more fine as we grow older and older because we know more and more, and we get more wisdom. So I tell people, with all that, why wouldn't you want to listen? And that goes straight into communication. Let's go straight into that. But before we start, I always have like a quote or some kind of thing to take away so we can come from there. And I want to share it real quick. As soon as I get this thing pulled up, technology is my friend. Yes, it is. Okay. So I have good communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity. Ooh. And I love that word clarity because it seems like it's always needed. You see, I'm saying certain things, I'm emphasizing certain words because I had a week with the communication. That's one of the reasons I think why I was a little selfish in this. Yes, that's why I picked this topic, because I'm seeing more and more and more that a lot of people might not be getting it like they should, or they don't understand that there's other parts to communication except just talking. But with that said, I want to take it right here. And one of the things that I'm finding out, and then, everybody can just jump in because this is what we do. So, Renee, you can just jump in when you want to and say your take on it, is that, like I said, people have a tendency to always, do a lot of that. But then this sometimes goes out the door to the point where they even say sometimes, well, I'm listening to you, but then do you get sometimes people talking over you? Or when you're trying to say something, if you don't say it fast enough, it's like they want to just jump in or say what they have to say. And then I say, well, you weren't listening to me. And they say, yes, I was, Barbara. I'll just wait for you to stop talking. Well, that's not listening. And then you made me feel bad. I had asked one person, I said, do I talk that slow that you have to speed me up so you can say what you have to say? So I'm just putting that out there. Has anybody else been in that little zone with people where it's like, you can even tell, even if they don't like talk over you. Like sometimes they might not talk over you. Sometimes they'll sit there and they'll be like, mm-hmm. And as soon as you get done, well, Barbara, da 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 da, and back to your mind, you're like, did they just hear any little concept that I just said? I don't think so. It don't seem like it. Have anybody dealt with that before? Renee?
I found that if you're not speaking their language, if you're talking about something they don't want to hear about or something they don't agree with, maybe it's political. As soon as they hear one word that sets them off, they've stopped listening, and then they're angry, and then they don't want to talk to you ever anymore. I mean, what's that about? I mean, we used to be able to have conversations and discussions and talk about things whether we agreed or not. At least we listen and hear the other person out, because sometimes you'll find that you might change your mind because you hear something you didn't know. And I find that most people don't do that anymore. They don't use their ears, like you said, and just listen. They get irritated or upset, or they're talking over you and screaming or whatever, and then they never want to speak to you again. I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, you made a good point that I think Carol and Karen has something to say too. That, like you said, it used to be where people used to sit back, we listen and talk and have conversations, yes, even if we didn't agree with the subject. I always say I agree to disagree. So I can give respect to what you have to say. I might not agree with it.
It is
but
so
they get to the point where they want to cut you completely off. So that is crazy. But Karen, did you, or I don't know, somebody was saying something, I didn't want to know which one, Carol or Karen.
It was Karen, but it looks like she's frozen again. Okay. But there comes a time when you have to be an adult. And I think that's our problem right now, is that we're not acting like adults. We're acting like little
kids, high school,
2-year-olds,
grammar school.
Yeah. And so, we know.
Yeah, it really is crazy, isn't it? I mean,
I think Karen's coming in and out. Her internet is probably, there she goes. Okay, keep going, Carol.
Well, yeah, that whole saying about everything I needed to know in life, I learned in kindergarten. That be kind to each other, hold hands when you cross the street, that whole little saying that was so popular a few years ago. And we've forgotten that. We're not kind to each other. We don't let other people have an opinion. Everybody has to be just like me. And that makes a boring life. I mean, that makes it for a boring society if everybody is little carbon copies of each other.
I agree. I saw something on LinkedIn this morning that was kind of a political statement, but it was how the Democrats and the Republicans many, many years ago now it was all about we the people. I mean, they could discuss ideas, and it wasn't about, oh, well, you're a Democrat, you have to do this or you have to think this way. Mm-hmm. And it really made me realize it's been a long time since we've been like that, but it's really bad now, where people just, if you don't agree, you're labeled, you're given a name, you're a racist, you're this, you're that. It's really sad that people cannot agree to disagree, or say, you know what, I really don't want to talk about that subject. It's just not a subject I wish to discuss. And that's okay too. But, if you have a discussion and they don't like it, they don't ever come back, or they fight with you, or it's just sad. It's just really sad.
Well, and that's their opinion. That is their right to not come back. But how many things that are being labeled racist are truly racist?
Very little.
I mean, most of us were around during the 60s, I shouldn't say that. I was around during the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember what racism was.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember those days. And what they're yelling and screaming is racist has nothing to do with race. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things for me, I find that so much of the rhetoric, what you can't call it rhetoric now, it's just silliness in some ways, but it's all about who wants the power, who has the money to finance the person who wants the power. And so then the person who wants the power has the guy below him paying for his power, and he wants everybody to think the way he does.
mm-hmm.
And social media, anybody can say anything practically, and all in the guise of free speech. Yeah, but they're not nice.
Yeah, but that's gone a lot, Barbara. Social media, there's many podcasters. They can't say anything they want to say because they can delete it.
And now they get right.
A lot of them are getting deleted.
In power,
free speech.
The ones in power get to keep everything up there. The ones
the
who
ones
don't
that owns
have
the
power
platform
are kicked off.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
That was why Elon Musk decided to buy Twitter, so you could have some free speech again, but that isn't really working out for him anymore because of what they've done. But it's crazy, our world right now when it comes to communication. I think everybody needs a refresher course. I think this is an excellent topic.
Yeah, totally. So, when I say communication is the key, and I think of a key,
right,
like opening the door to opportunities to, to understand each other, to get to know each other. I mean, the whole thing. And it seemed like that key is like in the door, locked, somebody took it and threw it away now.
Threw it away is right. Yeah.
And just said, okay, you're not going to communicate. Or if you do communicate, if it's not on something that I like or I agree with or whatever, right, like you said earlier, Renee, they'll sit there and they'll be like, well, forget you. It seemed like it's down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Barbara. And somebody told me the other day, they said, why does it seem like people are so more sensitive than they used to be? It's like you say any little thing and it's like they pop. It's like something just...
I think that has a lot to do with the last couple of years and people being locked down and, people dying and being sick and all the different things that have happened in the last couple of years. Our mental health, for so many has become a huge problem, and kids and a lot of adults. And it's just really, really sad that people don't have patience, that they can't sit there and have a conversation and listen and go back and forth. It's got to be all their way or hit the highway.
Yeah. And I can understand that because, we all had changes, all of us, through this pandemic. I know. I mean, for myself, real quickly, I lost within 3 months of last year, 13 family members, 13.
Wow. I am so sorry.
And thank you so much, Renee. And, I could have made it, but it all goes back to making that decision. I could have sat there and been like, communication out the door. I don't want to talk to nobody. Forget whatever. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Don't tell me about no booster shot. Don't tell me. I mean, I could just went on and on and on. But then I told myself, I said, what's that going to do? In fact, I need to communicate better. I need to listen better because first of all, I'm still here, and I need to make sure that whatever they were trying to do, like I said earlier, with their legacy or what they were here for at the time, they would want me to move on and listen and be a better listener and do what I need to do in my business or personal. So that was me making that decision that could still have those 2 ears open, which I know some people, they totally closed up their ears. They were like, I don't want to hear it anymore. And they're angry. I hear anger out of people sometimes and the depression, like you said, the mental health is real. I keep telling people it is real and people need to understand that too.
Just like the shooting with that kid the other day.
Right.
all the children that were killed, you know, he was 18, and to imagine that he was to that point at 18 years of age, you know, just really, really horrible.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of my things is some of the games, and I mean, I know that my grandchildren watch some of these games, and sometimes I'll walk down the stairs and I'm like, what are you watching?
Mhm.
And all it
Well, and it
is
goes down
guns,
into preschool, you know,
it's
even the
all guns,
preschool.
killing. Yeah. And I mean, and they have contests of how many people they can kill. And they're playing with kids, like they play with kids all over the country because it's
All over the
all
world.
on.
All over the
And I'm
world.
like, what are you listening to playing?
Well, and they aren't all kids. We're grown
And
people
they're
that
not
are
all
not.
kids. Exactly. They're not all kids.
But
But
it
And then
is a
they took-
matter of communication. It is a matter of being able to express where you are coming from
Right.
in a way that can be heard and understood. And I'm so glad you said that you made the decision, Barb, that it's a choice, isn't it?
Right.
We can stay where we are, or we can choose to make another way, another path. What are the other possibilities is my main go-to question. What are the other possibilities when I start wanting to feel better? Rewriting your story. But it is a decision to make that choice. But it's interesting. Everyone is so different. And I love talking to people and learning from people and trying to figure out where they're coming from. And trying to understand it, because I'm like you guys, you know, I like fun. I like to feel good, and I will do almost anything in my power to feel good, as long as it's not hurting myself or somebody else. I say go for it. Just
Right.
do it. Feel good, whatever it is. And you don't need to hurt others to do that. But then there are some people, like you were talking about, they want to stay in that dark space.
Yeah.
And understanding why do they want to stay in that dark space? I don't get necessarily. But then I had to figure it out. And I realized that in that dark space, in that game playing, in that numbing of their minds, bodies, and souls, they are in a community. And if they didn't have their community, they don't know what they would be or do or say.
But that goes into you're like the people you're around.
Exactly.
I mean, look at our group here. We are positive people that move forward in a positive way and have good communication with each other, and even the people who didn't get to be here tonight. But those people, they have their dark community that, you know, and it's like you can spiral down or you can spiral up. And I love what is it Seth Olson? Anyway, the writer of Slight Edge, that he, you know, it's what's easy to do is also easy not to do. But it's the little things that either spiral you up, you know, 1% a day of positive will spiral you up, where 1% a day of negative thoughts and negative actions will spiral you down. And so
faster.
It's a choice. Yeah, you spiral down faster than you spiral up. Up is work. Up is work. Down is kind of a slide. But, you know, it's our choice, and it goes back to choice. You know, everyone has a choice to make.
It was interesting to me too, Carol. It was so fascinating because when I was expressing that, because choice is what I teach people. This is what I do. We all have a choice. There are pros and cons to anything. So let's look at it all and make a decision, make that choice. And I was talking to somebody and she said, Karen, my gosh, every time you keep talking about choice, but I did not have a choice. And when you say I did, that means that you are shaming me.
Mm.
Talk about communication.
Wow.
So I had to think about, all right, what is my definition of choice? And that is making the decision to make the change. And she said, yeah, the decision is fine. That's the third step in the 12-step system. But choice, no, that's shaming me. I did not have a choice. All right.
It's interesting the
Hmm.
words that you can use, how they land on other people,
Mhm.
you know, and that's really huge. And I think that's something I've constantly been working on, is trying to use the right words so that I don't come across, you know, a way that would make them feel bad or feel upset.
But I
You know, I
have a
think
question on that. Do you not feel that it is nowadays we're having to be so careful with every word we choose, that in so many ways that has hurt the communication?
Mhm.
Because because everybody's feelings are out here on their sleeve, and it's like you can't do anything for thinking you're going to step in a pile of it. You can't say, you can't move anywhere. And back to the decision, it comes that there's that meme that was out a few years ago, is that 90% is your choice of how you respond. 10% of what happened. And
Yeah.
so, yes, and but for somebody to say, "Oh, you're shaming me," it's her choice to think she's shamed.
And that's the thing. Where you're coming from is your intention. Intention with your communication. Are you intending to hurt somebody? Or
Right.
are they in a space that is going to take that as a hurt?
That they can only hear the negative of
Yes.
no matter what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as long as you know that you are speaking from your heart and your intention is not to hurt,
Hmm.
it's a whole lot easier to let how somebody else sees it.
Yeah. It's interesting you're talking about, different words and people take things in a different light sometime. And I can just give you an example real quickly that this is me, had to work on me. And these were triggers when I was younger, because when I was younger, I was bullied a lot. I was yelled at a lot. This is a lot of things happened when I was younger. And, growing up, getting older, I had to learn how to say, okay, Barbara, learn from that. Don't take that in, and make sure that you don't take it into other relationships or what you're building. So I would have conversations with people, and they would start saying things, and they start getting like, if we have a conversation, and it gets a little heated, not heated like we're upset at each other, but just because we were both passionate. So they would be like, man, I don't understand this, and I don't environment, and I'm like, you know what? I'm shutting you down. This is what I would tell them. I'm shutting you down because you're yelling at me and I don't appreciate it. And you're talking to me like I'm a child. Now, all that came out of my mouth, it wasn't so much of them being so wrong with what they were saying. It was me going back to my childhood where the trigger happened, where people used to yell at me and shut me down when I was trying to talk. So we have to be careful. I mean, just saying that, you have to be careful to still be open, even though those triggers might come in. And then you could, because you can stop because the conversation was good. I mean, I was really understanding some things, but it shut me down when I heard certain words they were saying and how they were yelling. And I had to take myself back and say, okay, first of all, Barbara, you know this person. You've been knowing each other for a long time. Why would you even think that they have something against you or whatever that they said? So that's another thing. You have to understand, if you're talking in a group, like the group of these queens right here, if you came and said something to me that was kind of, I wouldn't sit there and say, Carol, I can't believe you said that to me. Oh my God, I'm shutting you down for life. No, I know, Carol, we've been knowing each other for a while. I'll just ask questions and then we would just talk about it and basically, work it out. Or just say, you know what, I didn't kind of like what you said. I mean, that's the communication again. Say what you feel, it didn't mean that. And then you have to, take it on from there. So I
But
think
how many people are still coming from that child,
a lot of
that
people.
hurt child, and that's what's happening. So they hear it, they get hurt, they go and run away and wash their hands of you or whatever, and they never allow themselves the growth that you gained from that, the growth, it
It hinders you. It hinders
yeah,
you.
it hinders you, it hinders
Wow.
them, it hinders the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Like
people
for
are
me,
in that space.
one of the
If we can
examples
learn.
I use that I still use so often is one day my sister and we were nattering at each other, and we were nattering at each other. And all of a sudden, we both looked at each other and we laughed because we were saying exactly the same thing, just from two completely different perspectives.
Mhm.
And yet we were getting to the same place. And we laughed so hard. But that was a turning point where we realized it was like, okay, yeah, we can have a difference of opinion and still get to the same spot.
Yes.
And it was hysterical because we still remember that time we were sitting in the back seat and we were and we still laugh about it. And that has been years. But we still laugh about it because it was absolutely just exactly what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You could be saying exactly the same thing, but just coming at it from two completely different perspectives.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, Barbara, because that's another thing I noticed too, where you can say one thing, I could say something. It's probably the same thing, but we just said it in different words, different ways, different expressions, and then we're kind of doing this to each other. Or you don't get it, I don't. But I said the same. And sometimes in your mind, you're like, "Well, I'm saying what they're saying."
But you're saying,
yeah. Why didn't I get that? Didn't you just hear what I said? No, I'm yelling at you too much. You're not saying anything like well, isn't that what I just said? Well, no, I don't want to listen to you.
Karen hit her right on the head. You're just yelling so much.
The problem is we get very passionate when we're speaking. And sometimes when we're in something that we really, really believe in, right? And, it gets a little intense sometimes. And for me, that's when I have to be careful because I've had people that we just had a conversation. But, instead of saying, Renee, I'd rather not talk about that subject. They just walk away. And that to me is just mind boggling that people would, I don't know. I mean, some people don't, there's certain topics they don't want to discuss, and I understand. But say so, and then nobody will say anything and bother you. But if you don't express that and, you've been friends with somebody for 50 years and you've had conversations about everything else and you just have one topic that you're talking about, all of a sudden, then they just walk away. I've had that happen. Even I had a client walk away because he brought it up and I said something about waiting for the fat lady to sing because I didn't go into that topic, but I came with an answer, right? And he never spoke to me again. And we were 3 days from closing the end of a deal. And I mean, people are really passionate about things. And I'd known him for 50 years.
Wow.
And instead of saying, I could have said, I don't want to talk about that. I didn't. I should have, but I didn't respond with a negative response like he said. I said, you just have to wait until the fat lady sings. That's all I said. And he never talked to me. It's been a couple of years already. He's not talked to me. And that kind of thing to me is what I don't understand, that people aren't grown up enough to say, you know what, I agree to disagree, or whatever, or I don't want to discuss that subject. It's all communication, and the communication, we've had such a serious breakdown in the last couple of years. And I think that it's, when I start getting kind of passionate, when you were talking about, do you have to pick your word? I do. When I get a little passionate, I have to be very careful what I say. I know that because it doesn't land with everybody the same way. And I agree that people are very, very sensitive, but I've learned, like with clients and stuff, you just have to step back and just say, I agree to disagree. And it's not maybe a subject we should discuss because I don't want to lose somebody over, the way I feel about something, and I don't think that's fair for anybody. I think you should be able to express and explain and still be that person that you've known for 50 years. It's not like I've known him a year or two. It's just crazy to me where there's so much has happened the last few years,
Yeah, it's really disappointing when relationships like that so long, and then all of a sudden just one thing like that cuts it complete. I mean, you could just say you're cutting a relationship that's over 40, 50 years, and you're cutting that because of a comment, because we couldn't agree or we couldn't talk about
On
it.
one
And it
conversation.
wasn't even a fight. It wasn't even a fight. It was just a conversation, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
really? Like, wow.
But don't
But
y'all
it's never
think
too late. It's never too late to go back.
I
I
tried.
know
I'm done at this
years
point.
and years
For
and
now.
years ago, my sister, I mean, I don't care. It's never too late. Years ago, my sister had decided that a member of the family was going to be out of her life. And if I wanted to support her, we kind of said bye to a member of our family.
Oh, she wanted you to line up with her.
Well, she didn't ask us to. No. But, she's my
Okay.
sister,
Mhm.
And I didn't care one way or the other. So I'd much rather see my sister again than see the other member of the family. So it didn't matter to me. But I never said yay or nay on either part. I never talked down about the other person or anything else. Well, anyway, it's interesting how things communicate. The universe communicates. And about a month ago, I asked somebody, gee, have you heard anything about this other member of the family? And yeah, okay, they're doing okay, great. And then I get an email that says, hey, he's actually on his deathbed in the hospital. And my sister had already passed, so she wasn't in the picture anymore. But he was on his deathbed in the hospital. And I thought, all right, this rift in the family has been there for years. I mean, 20 years.
Mm.
And I said, okay, give me some information. I'll see if they will see me. And the universe, like I said, came together because I happened to be visiting in the same town where he was on his deathbed. And I thought, I'm going to be there. May as well see what I can do. So I texted and said, can I see him? And they said, yeah, come. And the man was, my family member was very appreciative. His light just lit up when I walked in the room. And that filled my soul. And it just totally let everything go by. And we didn't have to talk about anything serious. And it's never too late. And the bottom line is, the last time I saw him, he died a couple of hours later.
wow.
Wow.
With a light in his face, knowing that it was okay to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that makes a difference. I don't think you should ever give up, but I think you can also step back. I mean, I know
Yeah.
what I've done to try to rectify, and it hasn't been welcome. So I just step back and let people, when they're ready, I would never, if they
Yeah.
approach me, I would absolutely talk to them.
Yeah.
I have great love for them, and I just pray for them. Nothing more I can
Right.
do at this
That's
moment.
the only
but-
thing we can do.
That's all you
Yeah.
can do, Renee. And like
I
Renee
just-
said, just to add, you can only do so much on your
Right.
end. If they're not willing to open that door again or whatever, what can you do?
Yeah.
Well, they're so entrenched in how they see the world that, if you can't line up with them, you are out. And I find that I'm very passionate myself about what I believe, but I would never kick somebody out of my life because they don't agree with me. That was to me the big revelation for the last couple of years as I've seen this, and not only for myself, but for other people that I know. They've had very similar situations in their family and friends, and just because you believe a certain way, can't you agree to disagree? Aren't you grown up enough to do that? You don't have to agree with me, but tell me in a conversation, hey, let's not talk about that, or whatever. I don't know. I just find it's interesting.
What's the sad part? A friend of mine and her brother have not talked in years. And she says, Barb, I have no idea what happened.
Oh.
No clue. So one day she said, I'm just going to find out. So she went to him and said, look what happened? Why won't you talk to me? Well, you know what you did. No, I don't. And And it was like, and she still has no idea what caused him to just go ballistic. And she has no idea. She says, Barb, I have no clue. And yet he won't talk to her or his parents. And they have no idea why. And he won't tell them.
That's really sad.
I
That's
mean,
sad.
He probably doesn't even really remember.
I don't think
Yeah.
he remembers.
And that's the funny part. You don't talk to people for years and you really don't even remember why.
Well, it's like
So that's why he
they
says
have
you
no
know.
idea what caused the Hatfields and McCoys.
That was
no
what I was
idea.
fixing to say. They don't know,
Right.
but the feud goes on today.
The feud still goes on today, but they have no idea what started it.
Yeah.
How silly is that?
It's really
pretty
silly because we're supposed to love on each other, not, not be so compatible. What's the word?
Yeah.
When you're,
Combative.
yeah, you're
Combative,
combative
yeah.
with people. That's not good. You can
Yeah.
agree to disagree. We're all grown ups.
Well, you know,
Well, we're
hope.
supposed to be grown-ups.
We're
Supposed to
supposed
be.
to be. That's
I
the
think
point.
that's a big part of it is that so many people are stuck in their emotional breaks from whatever happened, whatever trauma, whatever thing happened in their childhood, and they can't get past it.
Yeah.
And there are so many ways to get healed from that, and people still don't take those paths toward healing.
Right.
And I think
Right.
part of it too is it's work, and we have become an instant gratification
Society.
society. I mean, think about before the microwave came into being. You put your pot on the stove and you cooked your milk and you heated it and you put the sugar and you put the cocoa in it. Now you take out a little package, throw it in the microwave. We don't at our house, but anyway, and a little packet and you stir it and you call it hot chocolate. It doesn't even taste the same.
Oh, no.
Think about it. If you drink the powdered hot chocolate, go back and make a real cup and see the difference because it's a huge difference. But people are so used to the fake, they don't know the real nowadays.
My son-in-law, my sort of son-in-law, one day my daughter-in-law, she made from scratch potatoes. They were so good. He took one bite and said, "What did you do to the potatoes?" He had never had real from scratch potatoes.
Oh my goodness.
That's sad.
I laughed.
That's sad.
I laughed.
But he didn't like the real potatoes. He
He
just
didn't like the real
He likes
potatoes.
the phony. I
He
mean, the
likes
fake
the
one.
Okay, but that's another thing. How many of us are following the fake because we don't know what the real
we don't
is?
know what the real is
And
like.
our taste is even in foods and in nutrition, because that's my area. We have come to the point where we think the fake tastes better. I mean, a strawberry candy that is all fake flavoring and pure sugar as opposed to a strawberry.
Yeah.
There's no comparison, but we've come to where we like that fake whatever GMO.
Yeah, you're right. There's some things that are better. I've been watching Bobby Flav. I don't know if you know who he is, doing all the videos about really reading the ingredients on the back of everything you purchase. And he tells you things that are good for you and things that are bad for you in all different areas of the grocery store, right?
Yeah.
And not just food, other things too, but it's your makeups and personal products. And I've really learned a lot because I wasn't reading all the labels. And there's so many endocrine disruptors and there's so many things that cause all these additional things, so it's really interesting how bad, and what I think is so sad is the United States allows so many horrible things, like the European Union had just banned so much of the stuff we have in our foods, right? Like how come we're not more
Kool-Aid from when you were a child, when any of us was a child, is different than today's Kool-Aid, and they won't allow it to be imported. But you should never put something on your skin that you're not willing to put in your mouth. Anywhere on your skin, deodorant, lotion, makeup. If it isn't food grade where you would eat it, because everything you put on your skin is absorbed straight into your bloodstream. So it's very important. Even sitting in a bathtub full of chlorinated water will kill off all the goodies in your body that cause your food to digest.
Mm.
Mm,
So we need, so our next topic next month will be
mm.
health and wealth.
Yeah. Everybody bring your makeup box with you and we'll
Yeah,
discuss
I
it.
know. I said, okay, now I gotta take all my makeup off because now it's soaking into my skin and my bloodstream. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'd
Thank
like to
you,
hear
Carol.
some, if you know, information about makeup and things like that, because I don't wear it too often, unless I have a client I have to go out and see or something. But because I don't have a really good, I've changed a lot of things, all my
Hook me
creams
up.
in my house and that, but my skincare, I know that I would like to have something that's healthier. So if you know about it, I'd love to hear what
Well,
you can share.
that's my expertise. I used to own a modeling and talent
Well,
agency.
this is
So
well, I hate to stop the conversation because I know we're kind of going another direction too, but I want to make sure we bring it back because I want to make sure everybody has time to just say some last words about communication is the key. And I put on the side about health and wealth, Carol, so you're not out. We're going to probably do that for next month, so I'm not leaving you
that's
out.
okay. That's okay. But
Because it's a
I
good
want to
topic.
get with her before then. So
Oh no! You two talk before then. I'm just saying.
we'll talk off screen.
Instead of for the topic for next month, you gave us a good topic for next month. But no, you two talk before then. But I just want to say that communication is the key. We kind of gave a lot of the whys. I want to say this. I'll start with me with my last thought on it, and then I'll just go around the virtual room. Is that there's a story? Everybody has their story in life, and I'm saying that because, like we said before, I mean, I said an example about triggers in my life because of things that have happened, and it's really nobody's fault. I shouldn't blame anybody if they say something because I'm having these triggers, but we need to maybe understand that it might be deeper than what you see on the outside. You see the symptom, getting upset, them cutting you off, them saying certain things. That's some of the symptoms. But real deep inside, there's a deeper stuff going on inside of a person. So I always kind of think about that when things are happening communication wise to kind of give it ease for me and maybe even help me bag back just a little bit and understand that person instead of trying to be so right. You don't always have to be right all the time. People always want to be right and just want to go in there, but sometimes step back and really see what they might be saying, and then you see the bigger picture, and they don't have to say anything at all, just their body language, the way they do things, and then I will tell you, okay, I probably need to step back from here. So that would be something that I would have people think about moving when we're talking about communication and dealing with those conversations. And I want to take it now to Carol and then go around the room with your last thoughts.
Well, and I've got to say, I've been kind of vocal to that, but it you need to do it with kindness. You need to stand your ground. If it's something that's, my husband always says, choose your battles. He said, we raised 3 boys in 3 years. So, I mean, we didn't raise them in 3 years, but they were born in under 3 years. In 2 years, I had 3 kids, but, and no twins. But, he said, you pull out your big gun, use your littler guns first. And so we have to realize that we can do it with kindness. We can do it with love. And that's right there, the basic tenet of everything we're supposed to do is with kindness and love. And we need to make sure that what we're saying and what we're doing is for the other person's benefit. And sometimes we can back off without compromising where we're standing.
Right.
Never, ever compromise your beliefs, if they are your core beliefs. Stick with your core beliefs. But if it's something that you can give a little bit on, then do. If it's not something that's going to break the bank, so to speak, let's other people have what they consider a win. They'll come around later. If it's a truth they need to learn, God will send somebody else into their pathway to help nudge them along and water that seed that you've planted. So that's, I guess, my final thought.
Thank you, Carol. And can you let everybody know how they can contact you?
Yes, it's wellness.adamconnects, ATOMCONNECTS.com. And that's my digital business card. So you can get a hold of me all kinds of ways. The other thing would be Life by Design, Carol Henderson at gmail.com. I was told today that Gmails aren't considered business-like, but tough tarts.
Thank you so much, Carol. I always love everything that you say on every subject that we talk about. So thank you for
Thank you.
being a part of this panel. So our next person I'm going to pick on, no, last thoughts from our newbie, which she's not a newbie anymore. I don't call her newbie anymore. Miss Renee. I loved her talks and what she brought to the table. So Renee, any
Thank
last
you.
thoughts before we sign off?
Well, I think I really resonate with everything you all have said, that everybody has a story. We've all been through hell in some way or another at some time or another in our life. And, we all bring baggage, but it's how we've been able to learn to live with it, to learn to get rid of it, to learn how to bury it in the proper manner, So yes, you've experienced it, but you don't have to be that way or react that way. I think it does take work. A lot of people don't want to do the work, but it is something that's very important. That really resonated with me, and I think being kind and loving and trying to give somebody the benefit of the doubt and not having to be right. I'd rather be happy than right. Sometimes I want to be right, but most of the time I'd rather be happy, right? And I just think that everything that everybody has said is really, really critical. It's just treating each other. How would you want to be treated in that scenario? Do you want somebody screaming and yelling, or do you want somebody saying, hey, saying it with love and kindness and saying, tell me how you feel. How does that make you feel? Asking questions back that could perhaps get an answer from someone. So that's my final word on that. And how to get a hold of me. The best way would be my email, which would be RB. Those are my initials, R, the letter R, and all small case. RB, like for Boubette's my last name, and R for Renee. RB at RB on the go, ONTHEGO on the go at gmail.com. I had to think about it for a second. And you can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook. I have a real estate page on that, Instagram. I'm on all of those for my real estate, as far as for helping the seniors, the senior solution. I don't have a page yet. That is in progress. I'm working on those things, but you can contact me on any one of the above to talk about that as well. If you have any questions or have a senior that needs help getting transitioned and see what I can do to help them, I would love the opportunity to try in any of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Queen. And I love your rawness. I love how you come out and you just say what you have to say. That's what I'm talking about. That's
She jumped right in.
She jumps right in. She says what she's going to say and just go for it. And that's what we need, more Renees.
Thank you. I'm not shy. I guess that's what it is. I'm not shy.
And that's fine with me. So that's what I want to just let you know that, encourage you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
So Mrs. Karen, last thoughts and how they can contact you, Queen.
Sure. Well, you know what? It is so awesome to be part of this, Queens. I mean, you guys are the best. You guys are the best. And those listening can't help but feel uplifted when they see your smiling faces and being there. And I love, Carol, you're absolutely right. That was a lining up, growing up, choose your battles. Mm-hmm. Is this really important enough to possibly ruin a lifetime? Mm-hmm. So choose your battles and make those decisions, make those choices, and realizing that one of my go-to things for communication, when I find that, all righty, and it's a conscious choice, all righty, then it is interesting. That's an interesting perspective. Yeah. How are the cookies today?
I like that.
Interesting perspective. All right. I've learned this is not an area that we really need to talk about, is it now? Unless it's really important, life or death or something, then, So anyway, and I'd love to talk about communicate. And my communication today has been unbelievable because I couldn't get on and then I was freezing, but now look at us. We're all together again. perseverance.
But
Laura?
I've got to say something real quick about that's interesting. You know, we're in the South, and there's a saying we have down here in the South. It's like, bless your heart.
I've had lots of people tell me that. Bless your heart.
And if it's real serious, it's like, bless your little pea pecking heart, darling.
I've had people tell me that, Carol.
Oops.
Now you know why.
And I did get the impression right there, loud and clear. We need to change the subject. Okay. But I love it.
You know when it gets to the pea picking heart that you're just about done.
Well, yeah, exactly. The pea picking actually is the key, isn't it? That is absolutely the key. Anyway, you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn at Karen Stultz on LinkedIn, or email me at Karen KAREN KarenStultz.com, KarenStultz.com.
Oh, that's so nice. Bless your heart. No, I'm just kidding.
Bless your pea picking heart.
I just had to say it. It was there.
Well, you didn't say pea picking heart.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. No. We're not even at that level yet.
That's okay. All right.
No, I was just messing with you.
I like that pea picking heart.
It was mentioned. Carol said, I just have to say something because I don't know. So, but okay, none other than Mrs. Barbara, please share some wisdom for us and how they can contact you.
I think one of the things in any conversation you have to it's important to remember that everyone can be 10% right. So if you can focus on the 10% that is right in somebody else's conversation, then it can, just everybody has 10% right in any conversation. And it just really gives you a little bit of perspective, because there is, I think it was Renee that said, there are two sides to every story. There's two sides to it. Two sides. So anyway, how people can get in touch with me, trendsinmarketingenterprises.com. You can do that, or on LinkedIn, Barbara Ellison, on Facebook, Barbara Lunan Ellison, and just reach out to me. And yes, I know, name jail. I'm out of name jail. So, anyways, that's me.
I'm sorry, bro. Every time you bring that up, I always laugh because I know that was crazy.
That was just hysterical. I mean, I was in Facebook name jail for 2 months.
Thank you, ladies.
But I want to just end it before we all leave. I just want to again thank you, wonderful queens, for coming every month. If you can step up like you always do, I appreciate you. And just to give you a laugh, because Barbara said there's two sides. Well, somebody told me there's three sides to every conversation. It's yours, theirs, and the truth. So with that, I was like, okay.
That's true.
So I said, okay, they threw a third one in there. Who's lying? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, they said that. And of course, it was a man and his relationship with his wife. So that's why he said that. But it might be true in certain areas. I don't know. But I thought it was a good laugh.
That's where that 10% comes in.
Yeah.
So with that, ladies, we will see you next month on the first Thursday. If you can show up, we'll have a different topic, and just, look out for commercials, because I will be putting out commercials more. So we're going to promote this because this is awesome. The panel's awesome. So I don't want people to miss it. So with that, we will see everybody next month. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. when you see that they're all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming. You know, to give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a